Hello and welcome to the Soulful Shift podcast. Okay, we need to talk. I have so much to say. I've got so much to share with you. If you are somebody who feels stuck, you know you're supposed to get to the next level in your career, whether it's leadership or just the next advancement, the next pay, the next promotion, whatever it is, but you're just not getting there. Okay. We are going through a massive shift right now, and I want to share with you why you may be feeling stuck and actually being stuck, not just feeling it, but actually being stuck and what to do instead. And this is not a quick hack. Okay. So if you're looking for me to give you like one quick thing to do in 1 second that, this is it, unlock everything, I'm not your person. Okay. I am here for the people who are the new earth leaders, who are the people, the paradigm shifters, the leaders who are here to lead in a different way, yet aren't quite getting there. Okay. So if that's you, you have a higher consciousness. You likely have integrity. I know all my clients, integrity is one of their highest values. You want to do good in the world. You want to create a better place. You probably want success for yourself, for your family, if you've got one, for your team, for the people you take care of in your company, in your department, your team, whatever it looks like. You actually want those things. You've got integrity about that. But what we have in the world right now is a lot of leaders like you, if this is you, I'm assuming it is, I'm just going to speak to it like it's you, is you're depleted, you're exhausted, you're burned out, you've been trying, you've been doing and doing and doing and doing all the right things with the most beautiful of intentions, but you're not getting there. And it's bloody exhausting. I know I've been there and the clients I work with have been there, and it is not a fun place to be because on your inside, you're like, I know I'm better than this, but I'm just so flippin' exhausted. I'm so done with all of this, right? And there's a reason for it. You cannot lead in the way you are meant to lead if you are depleted. Simple as that. If you don't have capacity to lead, you cannot do it, right? And I'm probably not saying something new to you, right? It's like state the obvious. And throughout the last number of many, many years now, we've had all these strategies. We've talked about work-life balance and well, that's a big one, right? But just create more harmony in your life and just start deep breathing and all these strategies to create balance so you're not as depleted, take longer vacations and all these kinds of things, but they're not working. Okay. And they may work temporarily, like very temporarily. But then as soon as you're back in, you know what it's like. You're inundated. You've got all these things to do. You're trying to do your best. You're trying to get your job done. You're trying to get ahead, but like it's just not getting anywhere. So they're great things to say, but on a long-term basis, they don't actually work. And there's a reason for this. Is because your baseline is constantly coming from depletion, and there's no way to lead. And honestly, it's no way to live. Like we can't live from a place of depletion, right? It's survival mode. So what do you do instead? Now, what I'm going to say might sound really obvious, but you'd be surprised at the resistance most people have to doing this. And the solution to all of this is to actually choose yourself. Okay, what does that even mean? So what it means is actually knowing who you are, okay, at your core, having self-awareness about you, and really listening to yourself and asking yourself, what works for me? What doesn't work for me? What am I aligned with? What am I not aligned with? What feels good? What doesn't feel good? What's in my integrity? What's not in my integrity? It's asking yourself all these questions all the time, and then making decisions based on what you know about yourself. So the questions can simply actually look like, what am I available for and what am I not available for? You see, because when we continue to engage in activities, in conversations, in dynamics, in experiences, in relationships, in everything in our life that doesn't work for us, that we know is toxic or we know doesn't work or whatever we know, when we continue to engage in that, it takes all your energy, it takes all your power to actually stay engaged in those activities. So what choosing yourself means is aligning with yourself. So this could look like, okay, so in real terms, you're in a meeting and say it's the same meeting you have every other week or every month. We've all been in those meetings in corporate where we go through the same conversation over and over and over and over again, and we don't get anywhere, and nobody wants to talk about the pink elephant in the room, right? We're all avoiding it like the plague. It's you acknowledging, like, this is not helpful. This isn't working. And you speaking to that. Because here's the thing, we've lost what being a leader is. A leader means you have a vision. Okay, there's a vision, and you go first. That's what being a leader is. So the leader in that instance says, I want meetings that are actually productive. I don't want to waste everyone's time. And you actually speak to it. You go first. You're the brave one. That's what leadership requires. We've had leadership and management so distorted. Most people are just managing. But a true leader actually steps up and says what needs to be said. Or say you are in a situation where you are negotiating with another company and you don't like the way they're acting with you. Say they're pulling like a power play on you, meaning like they're trying to one up you in power. They're trying to have the upper edge. They're trying to do this in negotiations, right? Is you speaking to this, you talking about it, or you pulling yourself out of negotiations. And you realizing that having partnerships or agreements with companies that try to bully you isn't a good strategy for you or the company. Instead of just swallowing, and this is just the way we do it in corporate, and this is just whatever, we need this result. So we have to now do this because we know how that goes down the line. Down the line, a year down the line, the relationship blows up. We know how that goes. But I can tell you, every single time things like that happen, there was a leader who didn't reclaim their own power. And what that means at its core is just listening to your intuition, listening to yourself. That's what reclaiming your power is, not some crazy thing. But you'd be surprised at how much in our society and within the corporate culture we've been taught to not do this. But what happens when you do this? Okay, so I talked about you being depleted. Okay, when you start speaking your truth, when you start dealing with things in real time, you pull yourself out of conversations, you have the hard conversations, you do all these things, what you will find is all of a sudden so much of your time, so much of your resources are all of a sudden freed up. You're a different person. This is what reclaiming does to yourself. Reclaiming your power does to yourself. When you choose you in every now moment, what you do is you build your inner capacity, your inner resources, so you can lead. You can actually be that leader you want to be. And the great thing about this is when you give from a place of overflow, your whole team feels it. Your whole team gets elevated. Your results magnify, yours personally as well as the team. You want a promotion? Well, of course it's yours. Now, the reason why people resist this, okay, so I want to talk about this is really important, is because there's another leader in corporate that we have all seen done to death. And this is not just in corporate, it's actually in the whole entire world. It's the leader who puts themselves first at the expense of others. So what this looks like is the leader who talks a good talk, talks about, healthy workplaces, talks about taking care of their employees, talks about transparency and doing great things for the planet and having a healthy environment and all these kinds of things that sound beautiful. But if you look around them, the evidence is not there. So what they've essentially done is they've put themselves first, but not given from the overflow. That's the difference. What we need right now are leaders who put themselves first long enough. Like truly, you have to do this long enough to build your resources up again. Because if you're depleted right now, you've got to build yourself up again. Put yourself first long enough, build your resources, and then give from overflow. That is how everything in this world shifts. It is you, it is your career, it is your company, it is everything. When we put ourselves first, I have thought about this so much over the course of my life because I personally was raised that putting yourself first is incredibly selfish. And I've really reflected on this a lot in my life. And one thing I want to leave you with, and I just want you to contemplate this because this was the question that I asked myself many, many years ago when I was in my early 30s, and a close family member at the time told me that by putting myself first, I was being selfish. What I immediately thought to myself is, if anybody asks me to put them first or to not put myself first, who's the selfish one? Who's the selfish one? Somebody wants you to put everybody else first, or if you've decided to do that on your own, thinking it's the right thing to do, because we've been conditioned that way. It's the right thing to do. Put others first. It sounds beautiful. But the model doesn't work, because that's the model we've seen play out in the world over the last couple of decades, and it's not working because of what people are doing. You've got the two groups. You've got somebody who's selfish and is taking, and you've got a whole bunch of selfless people who are just constantly giving and not putting themselves first. And it's bloody exhausting. I know I did this for years. I was depleted, exhausted, worn out, all the things, until I realized what I was doing. I took back my power and stood up for myself. And in every now moment, I chose me. And the next thing I know, I've got all this extra capacity. And that's when your career can really elevate and you can really move up and do whatever the heck you want. Because you know what, honestly, the world needs you doing that. So I hope this was super helpful for you. I also have just released a masterclass, tells you exactly how to reclaim your power. I go more in depth in this. It really is, and I will keep saying this over and over again. It is the pathway. It is the doorway. If I could give everybody and anybody one piece of advice in 2026, and this is not just for your career, it's for your entire life, is to reclaim your power. This world has taught all of us to be victims, to give endlessly and not expect much. That's not the truth of why we came here. And the way towards more abundance, more success, is for you to put yourself first, reclaim your power, and then to start to create, to give, to do from overflow, not depletion. All right, beautiful soul. Talk to you soon.